Hello, everyone. Welcome to Spiritual Talks. I am your host, Gerald, and we are going to have an amazing episode. And this episode is super personal because it's about me. um, Overcoming homelessness. How I overcame homelessness. I was in Austin. I think it was around 2014, 2015, something like that. And I'm sitting at Starbucks. And I see this beautiful girl. She walks in, I speak, and, I start flirting or whatever. Ask her what her name is. She tells me. We go out and start hanging out, and I took a liking to this young lady, and we started dating. And yeah, after a while, a couple years later, I thought it was a good idea to maybe, take it to the next level, She was Cuban, and her mother thought that, since we had been dating for around, I don't know, a year and a half, 2 years, she was like, hey, what are you and my daughter doing? What are your plans for her? And so, me being the good man, I was raised by a two-parent household by the grace of God. And that really helped me decide early on in age that I really wanted a family, that I really wanted to have a family legacy, that I really wanted to have something that was bigger than myself, and because I was raised with seeing that, like, hey, it's just not about you going out and making a living. Who are you doing it for? So I get married. Have a great relationship. I'm in Austin. We're there for a while. And luckily, she worked at a really great job, and we were able to move. And we moved to Denver, Colorado. So first, I was in Austin having a great time. I started a tennis academy in Austin. Started a tennis academy there, went really, really well, and decided to take my show on the road. So we moved to Denver. Denver, Colorado. God, oh my God. I thought leaving Austin was difficult. It was really hard. I love Austin. Austin is like a mini California in Texas. Like you kind of forget that you are in Texas when you when you go there. But Austin is amazing. So went from Austin to Denver, opened up another tennis academy there in Denver. So started all over again. That went well. It's funny how we got to Denver. We were there on a trip, right? How do we even get to Denver? So we went for a business trip for her company, for my ex-wife's company. And so I'd never been there. And I was there for New Year's. We were there for a New Year's gathering. And oh my God, I fell in love with the place. And it was funny. I said to her, we're going to live here. And she's like, what do you mean? We've never lived in Denver before. What do you mean? You've never even came to Colorado? I was like, yeah, but I got a feeling about this place. And me being the intuitive that I am, my feelings typically are right. And I was right. We moved to Denver and we lived there for a while. And it was amazing. And I proposed in Denver, actually. Yeah, proposed in Denver. And things were great. We were married for 4 years. I love Denver. Started a tennis academy there. And we were there for God. We were there for, 4 years, yeah. So we were married there for 4 years there in Denver. Started a tennis academy there. Doing really, really well. And things started to take a ride. My ex-wife's mother got really sick, and her parents were already fighting, and they're aging, and it started to really take a toll on our marriage. Initially, I didn't see it happening, but her parents being sick kind of started chipping away at the relationship, and I didn't see it happening. And me being a younger man, I'm 39 now, so 2015, 2014, I was quite younger then. I didn't really have the tools, the techniques, and strategies that I needed to really be the best husband that I could. So to me, I didn't fail as a husband, but I didn't complete the mission. Because I learned a lot. I learned that as a man, there's certain responsibilities that you need to have, that there's certain understandings that you need to have in place. There's certain things that need to take place with you being a leader as a man. And I learned a lot about that. I learned a lot about myself being married and being a husband and understanding what a woman wants versus what I think. And I learned a lot, but it wasn't enough to save my marriage. And here's what's funny. We went on some of the best trips, camping, traveling the world, shopping sprees. I mean, we lived a very lavish lifestyle, to be quite fair. And financially, we did really well. You know, together, individually, we did really well. But again, me not having the tools, it doesn't matter how great life is. It doesn't. I don't know if you've ever put your heart into something that just didn't work out. I don't know if I'm talking to anybody. I don't know if you've ever given your all to something and it just didn't go through. Yeah. So here it is. My wife's family, her mother's sick. She's dying of cancer. We're trying to figure that out. And here it is, me not having the tools, me not having the techniques and strategies to be the best husband. And I didn't complete the mission. I wasn't what I needed to be. And our marriage ended. And it financially wiped me out. By this time, COVID, I had gotten divorced and I was living alone, and COVID hit. Yeah, I think it was like a year and a half, almost. Yeah, like a year and a half, right? In a year and a half, and COVID hit. I was in Denver, Colorado, and it was a snowstorm. And I said, I cannot live here. Like, I cannot do this. We were on lockdown. I don't know if anyone remember anything in COVID, but we're on lockdown. And it was a snowstorm. So Denver's lockdown was a little different. We were on curfew lockdown, not like lockdown. I mean, like, Denver shut it down to where you needed to be in the house by 10 o'clock. If you are not in the house by 10 o'clock, you are getting a ticket. It's not like you're going to jail or anything, but they had a curfew. You know, it was like martial law in aspects. And so you have imagine this. I want you to see this picture now. Okay. It's a snowstorm. It's in the middle of November. Okay. It's COVID. You can't, it's already shut down. And then we have a curfew limitation. So snowstorm, COVID, curfew limitation. I didn't know what cabin fever really was. I thought cabin fever was some cute little metaphor that people say when they want to get out the house. No. Cabin fever. Cabin fever is real. It's when you have been in the house so long to where it starts to do something to your psyche. And that's what happened to me. So I had to leave. So I'd never been, my ex-wife's family from Cuba, but they migrated to California. So we spent a lot of time in California. I know I didn't want to go there and feel memories. So I was like, where haven't I been? So I looked on the map. I wanted to be by water, saw the water. It was Florida because I was on the other side of the map. I already know California way too well. So let me go to Florida. I went to Florida, went to Fort Lauderdale, spent a week there. I was like, all right. So I got out of Colorado for a week. I took a vacation, right? I was like, all right, let's go to Florida. Went to Florida for a week in Fort Lauderdale, spent a week there, and I loved it. Oh, my God. First of all, I know people think Florida was irresponsible with COVID, but let me tell you, coming from Denver, I was like, COVID? They were like, what do you mean COVID? Like, there was no COVID. We were like out having fun. Like, everything was open. Like, it was almost like nothing was going on. It was like, wait a minute. So, after that week, it wasn't very difficult to make a decision on where I wanted to go. So, I sold all of my things in Denver, Colorado, and I moved to Florida without a place to stay. So I slept in my car. Yeah. I was so done with Denver, Colorado. I sold all my stuff, packed up a U-Haul, during COVID, snowstorm, packed it up, said I'm leaving on the midnight train to Miami. And I left. I completely left. My business that was thriving is no longer thriving. I mean, I'm barely hanging on. I don't know if you are in a situation, or you've ever been in a situation, or you know someone in a situation where they're barely holding on. I was barely holding on. And I made a decision. I said, if I don't leave this place now, something bad is going to happen. Mentally, I was breaking. I don't know if you've gotten to the point where you feel like you're almost at a point where you're going to break. I was at that point, and I made a decision, and that decision made me homeless. Yeah, sounds crazy, but it was the most liberating thing that had ever happened to me. Here's what I mean by that. Overcoming homelessness, right? That's what this episode is about, how I overcame homelessness. I decided that my mental health was more important than staying where I was. I'm going to say that again. I decided that my mental health was way more important than staying in Denver, Colorado and trying to figure my business out, trying to figure my life out. Here's what I knew. I know that this situation is draining the life out of me. I don't know if I'm talking to anyone. I don't know if you've ever been in that situation, but let me tell you, you have a way out. Now, here's the thing. When I took the way out, I knew that me being homeless was could possibly be happening. And it happened. I was homeless. I slept in my car for months. Going to the gym to take a shower. Yeah. Making my protein shakes out of the car, going to Starbucks and getting water every morning and making my protein shakes from my car. Showering from the gym, protein shakes in the car. You want to know what's interesting though? Coming from living a beautiful, lavish lifestyle, right? Sleeping and staying in the best places, eating the best foods. When I decided to be homeless and sleep in my car, I didn't realize how freeing that was going to be. I woke up every morning by the ocean. I have a Jeep Cherokee, right? I woke up every morning to the sunrise by the ocean. Every morning. Every morning. And I don't know if you're in a really bad situation that may not be bad as being homeless, and how you can find the beauty in a situation. You can position yourself in the midst of chaos to have beauty while there's burning, while there's trauma, while there's pain. You can find the beauty. Just like I found the beauty in being homeless. I got a chance to be free in a different level, not to beat to the sound of my own. Wow. Not having to report to anyone, not having to do anything, just free. It was the weirdest feeling. And the most freeing feeling. So I want you to understand that you may be in a situation that's really, really difficult. But I want you to know there's a freedom awaiting on the other side. Here's how I overcame homelessness. One day, I was at a grocery store. I was doing something. And I said to myself, or in my inner self, I said, okay, it's time. It's enough. It's enough. It's time. I wanted to sleep in a bed. I wanted to have a different lifestyle. And you know what I did? I took the money I had in the bank account and I got an apartment. Yeah, because I'd had enough. And I don't know what situation you're in, what you're trying to overcome, but let me tell you something. When you're ready, when you've had enough, just like I decided that day I was homeless, I had enough of being homeless and sleeping in my car. I want to go back to living in an apartment and not sleeping and not showering in a gym, not eating smoothies from my car, not making salads from bowls in my car, not living out the cooler in the back. Like when I decided that enough was enough, my whole life changed. It wasn't like I knew it couldn't happen. I just decided I didn't want to go through this anymore. You have to decide that I don't want to do this anymore. I don't want to be in this trauma. I don't want to be in this job. I don't want to be in this neighborhood. I don't want to be in this marriage. I don't want to be in this overweight body. I don't want to be in this bad mental state. Whenever you decide that enough is enough, you'll do it. You'll overcome it, just like I overcame being homeless. I overcame it by deciding that I didn't want to go through this anymore. I overcame it by deciding that I didn't want to go through this anymore. I made a decision and then I acted. My dad has this beautiful analogy, and I'll ask you guys the same question. There are 3 frogs sitting on a log. One frog decided to jump. How many frogs? 3 frogs sitting on a log. One frog decided to jump. How many frogs are on the log? There's 3 frogs sitting on the log. One decided to jump. How many? And the answer is 3. Because just because I made the decision not to be homeless, just like the frog made a decision. It didn't jump. It just made the decision. So if you want to overcome something, yes, you need to make the decision, but then you better jump. You better jump out of that marriage, jump out of that job, jump out of that neighborhood, jump out of that body into the next area of your life, the next path in your life, the next side of your life. Because just like I overcame homelessness because I made a decision and I acted on it. I made a decision and I acted. I made a decision and then I act. Once you decide that you are ready to overcome the situation, then you act. Then there's the results. The decision and then you act. You make a decision and then you act. Right? That's how I overcame it. I got tired. You got to get tired. Then you make the decision and then you act. You got to get tired, though. You got to get tired. You can overcome it whenever you want. Whenever you want to. You can decide when the pain stops. You can decide how much you're going to take. Life will continue to keep lifing. You just have to decide how much of life you want to deal with and how you want to deal with it. Because as you see right now, I'm not sleeping in my car. I'm not making salads out of my cooler. I'm not making smoothies out of my car anymore. No. You know why? Because I don't want to do that. I made a decision. Just like I made a decision to be homeless. I did it on purpose. I knew leaving Denver, Colorado without having a place to stay in the middle of COVID was the craziest damn thing I could do. I knew that. I didn't care. My mental health was more important. And me sleeping in my car, I thought was going to be horrible. It was initially, because I was like, oh my God, I was more so embarrassed than I was uncomfortable. I was embarrassed because of what I thought people would think. And then when I started being comfortable with waking up at the beach, living life on my own terms, and looking at all the angry people every morning like, wow, at least I'm not one of those. And I started to look at my whole situation differently. I'm going to the beach while you're going to wherever you're going. Okay, cool. And I'm trying to tell you, you're in a situation right now where I guarantee you, if you looked hard enough, there's something valuable there. I learned a lot about myself being homeless and sleeping in my car. I learned a lot. I learned how I can overcome anything. I learned how I can find the beauty in any situation. I learned how it doesn't matter what other people think. It's more so about how I feel about myself and what I'm actually doing. I was sleeping in my car, but I had, $10,000 in my bank account. Right? I had money. That was a thing. It wasn't like I couldn't find a place. It was more so like I want to just experience what it's like to be homeless. I kind of did. It was kind of like an experiment on myself. It was like, let's pretend that you don't have any money. Let's pretend. How are you going to live if you didn't have anything? And so I did it. It was an experiment on myself. And when I decided after almost, 8 months or so of sleeping in my car, I was like, enough. This is it. Go. So, yeah, I did that to myself by not preparing, not doing things that I needed to do, right? But still pushing myself, right? I put myself in a situation that was very uncomfortable for me. And sometimes, I don't know if you're in an uncomfortable situation, but here's the deal. You can overcome it. You can find the beauty in your ashes. Yeah? So, overcoming homelessness was a choice. I decided that I didn't want to do it anymore. I decided that enough is enough. So once you decide and take the action, you can get it done. Okay? So until next time, I love you guys. So excited to continue to share this beautiful message, and know that just because you see people come through on the other side, you don't know what I've been through. You don't know my story, but now you do. And I want to share it with you because I know sometimes you see people and influencers and you're like, oh my God, you have such a great life. But listen, you don't know. I feel like I failed in marriage. You don't know. I wasn't equipped. You don't know that I lost my business and moved to a complete different state and had to start all over. And I slept in my car. Even though I had money, you know how difficult it was to find a place after COVID? Even though you had money didn't even matter. It's like everyone's fighting for the bid. So I just said, you know what? I'll keep my money and sleep in the car until I figure it out. Was that the most comfortable situation that I could imagine, leaving from Denver, going to Florida, sleeping in my car for 8 months and then coming out on the other side and starting my business all over again, doing really well? Yeah. You can do it. You can make it through any situation. I'm telling you. You may not even be going through something as worse as being homeless and sleeping in your car. So whatever you think you might be going through, I'm not trying to match your trauma, but just know there's other people out there who have went through more shit than you have, and they're on the other side. So whatever you think might be difficult, just know you can push through. Because I did. Until next time, namaste. I'll see you guys soon. And follow us on Facebook, Spotify, YouTube, Apple Podcasts, TikTok, YouTube. We're everywhere. Amazon, subscribe, follow, share the podcast. And again, you can overcome any obstacle. If I can overcome being homeless, you can overcome your ish. Until next time, This has been another Spiritual Talk with Gerald. I'll see you guys soon.